This is the hero section of my website, and it features an image of me wearing a suit I don't own and a haircut I can't afford in a place I've never been to because it's all AI. Now, of course, AI headshots is nothing new. People on LinkedIn and other social media have been doing this for a while. But if you go to places like Headshot Pro, you'll see that it costs $29 and takes 2 hours. That's, of course, still a lot cheaper than hiring a professional photographer. But if you want to do it on the real cheap, there is a better and faster and cheaper solution. So if you need professional headshots of yourself for your next YouTube thumbnail or LinkedIn profile picture or social media post, you can now be anyone, anywhere, doing anything for the price of $5, and it only takes 5 minutes to train it on your face. It's particularly useful if you need a quick and professional headshot done on a day where you have a bad hair day or your face looks like a lobster because you've been out in the sun for too long. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is go to Google, and then you want to type in Flux Laura Portrait Trainer. And there you'll see at the top of the search results, click that and it'll take you straight to your new photography studio. Now, before you can get started, you need to create an account, so click sign up in the upper right corner. And if you already have a GitHub account, you can choose to log in with that. But if not, you can just use your Google account as well. Okay, so now you have an account, but as you can see, we have an issue, which is that we don't have any credits to actually run the trainer. The good news is, as you can see, it only costs $4. So click the add credits button. It'll take you to this screen. You just have to add your billing address and your payment method, top up the required amount, and off we go. Now, this is the account I've already set up for this, but as you can see, you have an input box here where you can add some images one by one, or you can pick a zip file of images and upload it via this button. Now, the more images you add, the better. So I think I added 40 and that was enough, but I think even more images with you striking different poses, having different facial expressions, such as surprised or happy or sad or angry, will be beneficial for the model to be able to accurately reproduce your facial expressions. Once you've uploaded them here, you have to add a trigger phrase, and that could be your name. So in my case, it'll be Fredrik Bonn Nilsson, and that means when I prompt it later, I have to include this trigger phrase so it knows it's me, it's going to reproduce an image of. So all these images you upload up here will be tied to this trigger phrase. So when you actually use the tool to create images, it's going to know that it's your face it needs to use for them. Then you just have to click start. You don't have to worry about the additional settings, just click start, wait 5 minutes, and boom, you'll have trained it on your face. Once it's done, it's going to appear here under training history. As you can see, I messed up my first attempt because I used too few photos and it wasn't very good. So I tried again with 40 photos as mentioned, and that turned out to do the trick. So once it shows here as completed, then you click run inference, which will take you to this screen, and you can see it already has your trigger phrase here. And then you type in a prompt. Here I've chosen to write close-up of me standing on the right hand side of the image while looking directly into the camera with a mildly surprised look on his face, while pointing to a photographer on the left-hand side of the image. They're standing in a modern and professional photography studio. Hopefully we'll be able to produce a thumbnail for this YouTube video, because I'm going to name it something along the lines of train your personal AI photographer for $5 in 5 minutes or something like that. Then you can click on additional settings down here, and you can see you can choose either the default image size, or you can choose square, portrait, or landscape. Now, because this is going to be for a YouTube video, I'm going to choose landscape 16:9. Number of inference steps, I don't know what that is, but I don't think it makes a difference. Same thing with guidance scale and sync mode, and number of images you can choose to make 4 at a time. Now, mind you, you can see that it doesn't cost a whole lot. It's $0.035 per megapixel, which is not a lot of money. You can see that I have $8.77 in credit, so we can just run this once and then see what it spits out and how much it charges. Right, so that took a few seconds, and if we click on these, we can see, okay, actually I'm both the photographer and the subject, which is quite funny. And this is not bad. It still looks a bit artificial, but it'll do the trick for the purposes of a stupid YouTube thumbnail, right? This is the second one. I do look a bit surprised here, but not the kind of surprised I was hoping for. Here there's 3 of me, one in the background, one as the main subject, and then I guess I'm also the photographer with a lot more tattoos than I actually have. And the 4th one here could also be a good candidate for our thumbnail. Now, obviously I've had a very messy haircut in a lot of my images that I uploaded and had it train on, so this is not always ideal, but fortunately this only costs 11 cents to produce. So we can run this as many times as we want for very little money. I'm just going to download this for shits and giggles. I might use this later, and then run this one more time just to see what happens. Boom, 10 seconds later, we have another batch. Okay, this looks surprised in the wrong way. Here I have too many wrinkles on my face, and although I'm pushing 40, the whole point of using an AI photographer is to make me look my best. Here I look a bit too young, so that's misleading, and here I look way too enthusiastic. Now, of course, you can play around with the prompts a bit, so instead of a surprised, typical YouTuber expression on your face, you can maybe go for a happy facial expression and see what happens. This one could also work. I've asked it to put me in a red suit and then have a white backdrop. So I'm just going to shortlist a few of these. This one also turned out pretty good, except for the hair. And it's not really evident it's a photography crew in the background, but we're getting there. Some of these are actually turning out pretty cool. I also love that the photography crew is me as well. And it makes like different variations of me. This one is a fat one, then we have a skinny one in the background. You can always use these as like social media visuals, right? So if you're posting on LinkedIn, you can have that as your little photography to go with it. Okay, so some of these turn out pretty well. I think this one might be the winner, the money shot. So here we have me on the right hand side looking confidently at the camera, and here we have some space for text for the thumbnail, right? Cool. And if you ever want to see all the previous iterations, you can go in here under requests, and then you can see all the different iterations that I've run, and you can always go in and download them later if you want to. And it really is as simple as that. Now, if you want to add a bit of text to your image for a thumbnail, for example, you can just go into Canva, click create, and then you can type in YouTube thumbnail, then it'll have the right dimension. Then we just drag and drop our little image in here, boom, and then we can add some text. Now, I don't know exactly what I'm going to put for the title of this thumbnail, so I'm just freestyling a bit here, but it's probably going to be something typical clickbaity, right? So if the title is "Don't hire a photographer before you see this," and then the thumbnail is going to say something like "Do this instead." But whatever, you get the point. I'm not a professional YouTube thumbnail designer, so I'll have to play around with this. All right, so that was my quick tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you around. Peace.